Hey, it's Sean. I help business owners to build a business that works for them. And I have to admit that this year has not started exactly how I planned. I was really sick when I came back from Budapest over the new year. Then my dog got sick, and suddenly the beautifully mapped Q1 that I had planned just didn't happen. But quite honestly, it was the reminder that I needed. And the reminder is that 2026 or the year ahead and business in general is a marathon, not a sprint. Life will happen, plans will change, and if your goals only work when everything goes perfectly, then they're not going to last. So before you set goals this year, or maybe you've already set goals and like me, things have kind of not gone to plan, then I want to talk you through three things I believe you must do first. Otherwise, you're likely setting yourself up for another year of frustration, stop-start momentum, and quiet burnout. I'm a believer that progress needs to be sustainable and not hustle, not high pressure, and not proving anything. I know what it is like to wake up every day with equal parts potential and equal parts pressure, and these kind of forces moving on you. And I'm also really conscious that I don't think we're meant to be living our lives constantly striving. I think that we're meant to steward our energy, our focus, and our time very well. And that's where a lot of goal setting goes wrong. And I think that we've got so much pressure around goal setting that we actually shy away from it, which is completely understandable. So, number one, the first thing that you need to do is to look at what energy drains you have. And the goal is that we maintain and steward our energy, because when energy is leaking everywhere, we end up being drained, not just your time, but everything. And it's really hard to get back from that when you're feeling drained, looking forward to Friday, dreading Monday. So it's important to get a piece of paper out and have a little brainstorm about the tasks that exhaust you, the decision fatigue that you've had, the low leverage work that you just don't look forward to, but it has to get done, the stuff that emotionally drains you. Just this week, I actually had a client sit down and work out her hourly rate. So, how many hours on average she works, what she actually pays herself, and actually what she's worth to the business. And then we looked at the tasks that she was doing that were nowhere near that value. And we started to see what we could hire for, what we could outsource, and specifically looking at that in the context of what drains you. It could be as simple as, if you hate cooking, hire a chef. That might sound a bit bougie and a bit indulgent, but it's really not, because that time spent doing something that you despise could be better spent resting or being present for your family or working on something in the business that really needs to get done to move you forward further, faster. So once you kind of like see that clearly, you can ask yourself, what do I need to stop doing? What do I delegate? What do I hire? What do I outsource? And what do I do to protect my energy? You don't need more goals. Sometimes the temptation is that we want to do more, and we know we're capable of more, that there's more potential, and we want to set bigger, better goals. But sometimes what we actually need is to have fewer drains. So that's the first thing. The second thing that I invite you to do is to look at your identity. Not intention. We all can set good intentions. We can all, say that we want to reach 7 figures or do this or do that. I'm not saying intentions. I'm saying look at identity. Rewrite your goals around identity, not outcomes. Let me explain. Instead of saying, I want to train at the gym 5 times a week, the shift is saying, I am someone who trains at the gym 5 times a week. So it's about having that kind of identity. It's always funny when I see people who do these adventure races and triathlons and that kind of thing, that is their identity. It's why they can do that Ironman or whatever it is, because they are the kind of person who goes swimming and running and cycling. It's an identity, and they're really successful at it. Identity guides our daily decisions. You know, it guides what we're going to do, what we're going to get done in a day, and it removes negotiation. It's funny because I literally just sent my husband a WhatsApp message that said, here are all the excuses I have to not go to the gym today. I need to record this YouTube video. I've got client calls that I have to prepare for. I'm hungry. It's raining outside. So when you have to negotiate with yourself around getting certain things done that are important to work towards your goals, it's kind of time to look at the identity that you have around that. So you might want to try some of these prompts. In business, this looks like, I'm someone who reviews my numbers and data on a weekly basis. I am someone who protects my time for deep work. I am someone who builds systems and doesn't just react to everything. So I definitely invite you to spend a little bit of time looking at those goals and what identity shifts do you need to make around those so that you can make sure that they happen. And then the third thing that I invite you to do before setting goals or embarking on your goals is to let go. And I just want to share that unprocessed failure sabotages your future goals. You know, sometimes I use the analogy of a plasma TV. I don't know if you remember the old plasma TVs, but if you put something on pause and you left it on pause for way too long, there would be like a ghost image of that pause screen on the background. And sometimes we're setting goals with the faint ghost image of past failures still burned into our minds, like that plasma TV screen. And we have to let that go. Failure is fine. You know, you have to just let it go. You have to process that and interrogate what that means to you. You're not a failure. Maybe something else in that scenario just didn't work, or maybe there were things that could have been done better. Whatever it is, let it go. I was working with a new client this week, and I said to her just randomly, I was like, is there anything else that you want me to know before we start our work together? And she said, yeah. I want you to know that I am more afraid of success than I am of failure. I said, tell me a little bit more about it. And we kind of like dug into the reasons for that. And I'm sure there's more to work on, but sometimes just bringing the reason for the failure, the fear of that failure or the fear of that success, sometimes that's enough to just bring it into the light. So awareness doesn't fix everything, but it definitely frees you to do things differently. So those are the three things I wanted to share with you to look at and interrogate before you set your goals or before you embark on your goals for the year. And sure, it's a little bit late, but like I said, I'm a prime example of how our plans are not always going to go to plan. So if your goals are only going to be achieved if everything goes perfectly, then I don't think you've got a very solid footing. So all I would say is that this year, remove what drains you, anchor your goals in identity, release the past, and it's going to be the surefire way to not repeat the same patterns, just, with new intentions. So if this really resonates with you and you want some clarity on those goals that you want to set and make sure that they actually stick, then let me know and I can share some tools with you, a goal mapping template, and I can help you to make sure that you focus on what you need to focus on and stop carrying what you don't need to carry. So I've got that template for you if you want it. Yeah, I hope that has been helpful. So thank you for listening to me, and I hope to see you on the next video. Like I said, this was very rushed and very put together at the last minute because I just thought it was time to sit down and just get on with it. So sometimes we're not after perfection, we're just after progress. Thank you for being here. I'm Sian Lenigan, business coach and strategist, helping you to build a business that works for you.